In the years before calendars were trusted, and before roads knew where they were going, there stood a village pressed between a forest and a wide whispering plain. The people there said the wind had a voice, and if you listened long enough, it would tell you the names of the dead. In that village lived a man named Aaron, a maker of fine wooden tools, handles smooth as river stones, bowls that never cracked in winter. His hands were praised, his work respected, and his home envied. His wife was called LIRA. LIRA was not loud, nor especially beautiful by the village's cruel standards, but she had a steadiness that made rooms feel warmer. She sang while grinding grain. She spoke gently to animals. When Aaron came home tired and sour, she listened without defending herself. When his moods darkened, she lit lamps instead of arguments. For many years, that was enough. But contentment, like silence, can make a restless man hear his own thoughts too clearly. The mistress arrived with spring traders, Merith, a woman with quick laughter and eyes that promised escape. She spoke of distant towns, of music played past midnight, of lives where no one stayed the same for long. Where LIRA was rooted, Merith was moving. Where LIRA endured, Merith desired. Aaron told himself it was harmless at first. Words shared by the well. Smiles exchanged in passing. The lie always begins small, so it can grow unnoticed. Soon, he stayed out longer. Soon, LIRA waited without asking why. Soon, guilt twisted itself into resentment because nothing angers a man more than the kindness of someone he is betraying. Merith spoke poison, softly. She dims you, she holds you back. You were meant for more than this small life. And Aaron believed her, because belief was easier than responsibility. One night, the wind rose suddenly, rattling doors and shaking the forest into restless motion. LIRA sensed something wrong. Not fear, exactly, but a heaviness, like breath held too long. Aaron came home late. Words were exchanged sharp, careless words he would later claim he did not mean. LIRA spoke of truth, of honesty, of the quiet damage being done. The wind pressed against the walls. What happened next was never spoken of clearly. Some said rage guided his hands. Others said desperation. Aaron himself claimed he only meant to silence the argument, to make it stop. But silence, once made permanent, never obeys intention. The village mourned. ERAN performed grief convincingly. Merith left before the earth on LIRA's grave had settled, suddenly uninterested in a man who carried death behind his eyes. No one accused him outright. In those days, certainty was rare, and the dead did not testify. But the wind began to behave strangely. It followed Aaron. At first, it was subtle doors creaking open only for him, ash blowing into his face, whispers curling around his name. When he slept, it pressed cold fingers along his spine. When he walked, it tugged at his clothes as if trying to pull him back. The elders noticed that, the children avoided him. Animals refused his touch. Years passed, and Aaron's suffering grew slow and deliberate. The wind carried voices, never screams only. LIRA's song, unfinished, repeating the same broken melody she used to hum while working. It stole warmth from his home. It extinguished his fires. It rotted his stored grain. It erased his footprints so he could never be sure he was going anywhere at all. He tried to leave the village. No matter which road he took, the wind turned him back. You cannot outrun what you have unmade, it seemed to say. Aaron aged quickly. His hands, once steady, began to shake. His tools cracked. His bowls split. Nothing he made held together, as if the world itself rejected his attempts to shape it. One winter night, when the cold was sharp enough to peel truth from bone, Aaron stood alone on the plain. The wind howled so fiercely it bent the grass flat. He shouted his confession not to people, not to gods, but to the wind itself. I was weak. I was selfish. I mistook desire for destiny. I broke what trusted me. The wind did not answer. It never forgave, but it did listen. From that night on, the whispers stopped sounding like LIRA's voice. Instead, the wind spoke in Aaron's own, repeating every excuse he had ever made, every lie he had told himself, over and over, until he could no longer bear to hear his own thoughts. Aaron did not die dramatically. Folktales rarely grant mercy through speed. He faded. One morning, the villagers found his house empty, the door swinging gently, the air inside unnaturally still. Outside, The wind moved as it always had, restless, impartial, eternal. Some say Aaron wandered into the plains and was ground down into dust, scattered endlessly. Others say the wind took him apart piece by piece, the way guilt does. But old people will tell you this, lowering their voices. On certain nights, when the wind turns cold without reason, you can hear a man walking where no path remains, following footsteps that vanish as soon as they are made. And if you listen carefully, beneath the howl of the wind, you will hear not a scream, not a plea, but a lesson the wind never grows tired of teaching. Betrayal does not end when the act is done. It only changes the shape of the punishment.